Indonesia's Mount Ibu has erupted once again, and thousands of people have been forced to leave their homes. Authorities in West Halmahera have evacuated 7 villages. There's been weeks of intense volcanic activity with ash plumes as high as 7 kilometres. It's the latest in a series of eruptions recorded since May. Well, Barnaby is joining us now live from Halmahera on the Indonesian island of North Maluku, not far from Mount Ibu. So what's the latest on the volcano? Is it still erupting, Barnaby?
Yeah, Rob, we're about 9 kilometers away from Mount Ibu right now, so just outside the 7-kilometer danger zone. And yes, Mount Ibu is very much still erupting. In fact, it erupted twice today. Once at around 2 in the morning local time when it sent around 5 kilometers of ash plume up in the air, and then another time at around 8 in the morning local time, so that was just a few hours ago, and it spewed around 1,200 meters of ash plume up in the sky. Now, actually, there are 2 volcanoes that are active here in Halmahera, in the Halmahera region alone, and there are 6 volcanoes that are actively erupting all across the Indonesian archipelago right now. So it is a very active Pacific Ring of Fire. And in addition to these volcanoes in Indonesia, there is another volcano in the Philippines that erupted on Monday. So again, a very active Pacific Ring of Fire. But according to volcanologists that we have spoken here in Indonesia, this is just normal because of the sheer number of volcanoes here in Indonesia. There are more than 120 volcanoes here in Indonesia, so they're all bound to erupt at some point. But of course, that is not to downplay the situation, because there's nothing normal about people having to live in tents just like the ones behind me, Rob.
Yeah, the volcanologists may be saying that this is pretty normal. We're looking at some extraordinary pictures of the eruptions that have been going on, just as you're describing them to us. So I understand that 7 villages have been evacuated. How are people coping in the centres that you're talking about? We can, I think, see some of the tents behind you.
Yeah, so more than 2,600 people from these 7 villages have been evacuated. And in this evacuation camp, there are about 1,000 people. So there are a few evacuation camps all around this area, just outside the 7-kilometer danger zone. And the good news, Rob, is that, of course, these people, they grew up in this area. They have been living under the constant threat of volcanic eruption, so they know what to do whenever there is an eruption, which is, to, of course, to stay away from the danger of eruption, and as well as the danger of cold lava flows. Now, the government also knows what to do, which is to keep people away from the danger of these eruptions and cold lava flows. But of course, again, it is not normal to be living in these tents, and the problem is the length of the time that they have to stay in these tents, because they have been staying here for weeks now. It could turn into months. It could even turn into years. And their problem is that although they are being provided with food and other necessities, they have lost their livelihoods. They're not able to make money. They have to pay their debts. They have to pay for the schooling of their children. And so some of them risk their lives. They go back to coconut plantations around the volcano to be able to make some money, Rob.
Barnaby, thank you very much indeed. Barnaby talking to us from North Maluku there.